What's going on? It's me again. My name is my name is Rob, and this is Jason. How's it going, Rob?
It's going well. Hey, I wanted to start the show off fast and intense.
Oh,
And I haven't told you this, but I wanted to do a little bit I like to call Rob's Wrong. You ready, Jason? You ready?
Okay.
It's Rob's Wrong. It's Rob's wrong. It's time to bitch about his fucking opinions because he's an idiot. Woo! All right, Rob's wrong. Rob's wrong. Hold on. So we got a nice comment yesterday, right?
Oh,
just
we
letting
did?
me know
I
how
didn't see
fucking
it.
wrong I am. Oh, it's so good, dude. I really
You're
appreciate
fucking wrong.
this. Yeah, Kenneth Elliott. It's his name on YouTube.
I
What's
like
the frequency?
I like Kenneth.
Yeah. Rob shouldn't laugh. The third act of Rogue One was also the most choppy part of Rogue One. Even I, Kenneth, can see this. To which I replied,
Yeah, he's right though.
But I'm wrong. I'm totally wrong. I just wanted you all to know
Rob's
how
wrong.
wrong I am. I'm wrong. Ready? You ready for one more time?
Yeah.
Rob's wrong. Rob's wrong. It's time to let him. His fucking opinion's stupid. Woo! All right. All right.
Yeah.
I got to make that a background, but I thought that would be.
As a kid, I bought the Wayne's World soundtrack to get Bohemian Rhapsody because you couldn't actually buy A Night at the Opera anywhere when it came out. Only the 1991 reissue was around. It was kind of hard to find, and so I bought the Wayne's World soundtrack, and it had an actual musical version of Wayne's World. Wayne's World is party time. It's excellent. And when you're trying to do the actual skit music, I can't get the soundtrack version out of my head, so I couldn't participate. Yeah,
not as
dumb.
good. Not as good.
No.
We did get a real excellent comment also from this is not about me being wrong, but you will appreciate it from Bootsy.
Good old
love
Bootsy.
I'm gonna read it to you, right? In my normal voice, because I don't have a Bootsy voice yet. Dude, Jason, you brought up some wild memories for me today. During the 1988-89 pilot season, I was 13 and here in Hollywood auditioning for TV shows and screen tested for that lame What a Dummy show.
Oh my God! We got a What a Dummy casting scoop.
Yeah. It was just Bootsy versus Dorf, and Dorf got it.
Fucking Dorf, man.
Bootsy was devastated. Ha ha ha. But the coolest thing was he was on the 20th Century Fox lot and snuck onto stage 20, where they shot Moonlighting. I saw them shoot at the Blue Moon Detective Office. The only pilot I ended up getting that year was Quantum Leap. Later, Bootsy.
Wait, Bootsy was in Quantum Leap? Is that what he said?
Bro, even if that is like the biggest bullshitter ever, fucking he just threw in Quantum Leap, Moonlighting, and What a Dummy. Bootsy is fucking MVP right now. He's top of the leaderboards here at Making Star Wars.
Wait.
Even if that's totally fucking made up. I don't think it is though. I think, yeah. So the pilot for Quantum Leap was the test pilot one, right? Literally, where he's a test pilot. Yeah. That's why it's funny when you think about it. Wordplay.
I find it weird that Luke Skywalker uses like two fingers when he does the salute. I feel like it's gonna go. It's kind of weird that he does it that way. Like,
smell your finger thing is so 90s, Jason. It's so 90s.
I mean, it was 83 though, which makes him ahead of his time. Think about it. But
you got me there.
Yeah. All right. Star Wars Anna says like the video, subscribe to the channel, or Jason's evil twin Jacob will take over the show. I just did a show with Santa.
I like to think, Jason, hold on. I like to think that he reads it like he's Grumble, like the show.
Like the real, there's no Christmas this year.
Fuck it. Just fuck it.
I won't be the last Jedi. Sounds right.
The last Santa.
All right. So here's what happened.
Okay, here we go.
Rian Johnson still wants to make a Star Wars trilogy. It would break my heart if I were finished. Exclusive. So
when are we getting him on the show, man?
Probably never.
Nobody was a bigger champion of that film than you, man. Like, seriously.
I agree. I like the Ryan. Ryan's always been a nice guy to me. I think he's nice. I think he does good work. Not only
We
does
gotta hold on. We gotta start a Ryan Johansson on the show campaign. Right? Anytime it
Mhm.
comes near, we just gotta we'll make the dumbest videos. We'll make a song. We gotta make a music video, Jason. We're gonna
Okay.
spend a little bit of our spam clout, right?
Mhm.
Right? We could do a GoFundMe where all the money goes to a charity of his choice. I don't fucking care. You know what I mean? Like whatever we gotta do. And then he'll come on here and just troll the shit out of us. I really, if you guys want to know why I really like Rian Johnson, just as personality, right? Forget what he's written and directed, all that bullshit. Dapper beard. Go listen to the old Slash Film podcast episodes from 2012, 11 or so. And he
Mhm.
would go on there and he would just troll David Chen to no fucking end. Anytime David would talk, he'd chew on ice. Just no one asked him to do it, you know? So I love it. Okay, finish. I just wanted to say
Really quickly,
Ryan Johansson.
Planet Fitness says, "Hey, I thought they weren't doing any more trilogies. They probably will do them. They will probably let him do the first one and then continue to finish it. That's my guess."
He likes to start a trilogy and then finish off. You know?
Not only does okay, so this is from empireonline.com/movies/news/ Rian Johnson still wants to make his Star Wars trilogy exclusive with hyphens in the middle, backslash or // Guns N' Roses,
He's
Sweet
gonna
Child
call
of
it
Mine.
the Glass Snoke trilogy.
Okay,
You
not
know?
only does this year mark 5 years of Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi, it also marks 5 years since Lucasfilm announced an all-new Star Wars trilogy of Star Wars movies to be created by the film's writer-director Rian Johnson. Half a decade later, these films are yet to materialize, but though, like Luke Skywalker hidden away on Octu, they seem to have disappeared. They're not totally gone. Speaking to Empire, Johnson made it clear that he hasn't forgotten about his set of original Star Wars movies and still has a burning desire to return to the galaxy far, far away down the line. So I've stayed close to Kathleen Kennedy, and we get together often and
Oh.
talk about it. He tells
Hey,
Empire of his
nice.
long-awaited Star Wars series.
Love it.
It's just at this point a matter of schedule and when it can happen. It would break my heart if I were finished, if I couldn't get back in that sandbox at some point. For now, he's hard at work cooking up 2 Knives Out sequels for Netflix, the first of which, Glass Onion, is arriving this December. Meanwhile, the Star Wars slate is looking similarly busy, with Andor weeks away from debuting, the return of The Mandalorian coming next year, and Ahsoka to follow. But once again, those are TV shows, and he's talking about theatrical films.
I'll tell you what, Jason. It'll break my budget with all those porgs I'm gonna have to buy. It's a porg trilogy, Jason. Oh no!
I want Stanley to say, "It'll break my butt."
It's gonna break my butt. Oh, those porg NFTs, Jason. Oh
Yeah.
no, they're in the
True.
closet. Oh,
I heard that's
with Frosty. What?
I heard that's why he has to. That's why he has to do it. He spent all his money on NFTs and it didn't pan out. Johnson's comments track with what Kathleen Kennedy told Empire at Star Wars Celebration earlier this year, that everyone involved has a full plate for now, but the films are by no means dead and buried. Now everybody's so busy, genuinely busy and working on things, Kennedy said a few months ago. Ryan has such a gigantic success with Knives Out that he's very committed to try to get that done. So it'll be a while, and we have to work 3-5 years in advance on what we're doing. So that's where that sits, but we love him. There's a spark of hope then, and if The Last Jedi taught us anything, it's that all it took was a spark of light to light the fire to burn the First Order down. We're more than willing to wait for a fresh batch of Rian Johnson Star Wars stories to ignite. And then this is the cover, and it's got Daniel Craig, which, by the way, I broke was in The Force Awakens, but I thought nobody would care, and I buried it in a story like an idiot. That's what I knew back then. So yeah,
Those were your Bespin days.
my Bespin days. I'm just gonna.
Every time you give him advice, I'm like, it's like 2014's Jason's trying to help him, you know?
Yeah.
And he won't listen.
No, he knows what he's doing. I'm not gonna say that. But
All right, you do say so.
I just want him to put everything out all the time. Come on. Turn it
Join
out
me
is
in
what I say.
tomorrow's episode of Rob's Wrong when Bestman lets me know how fucking wrong I am. But it'll be fun.
Oh, and then just before I forget, let me put that back
Wait,
up.
about on the Rehan thing. So like, did he get the advance from Netflix or like an agreement to do something? Because like, if they just go, because they've been canceling everything, right? So if they're like, hey, yeah, we did that one Knives Out, but we didn't get this. We only got 6 billion views, not 7 billion views, and so canceled. You know, like,
Mm-hmm.
do you think that's a possibility? And then he's just like, well, back to Star Wars. 3 to 5 years from now. Like,
I'm pretty sure. I mean, I'm guessing. Obviously, this is speculation on my part, but Rian Johnson's not going to go in with some shabby entertainment lawyer who's not going to get him a very good fucking deal when he goes to at bat with Netflix. So I'm guessing he got it really, really. Like I'm guessing he got a really good deal, and I'm guessing he was like paid in advance, and so I think he's getting it out of the way. Unlike J.J. Abrams and his production company had so many things they were supposed to do that just haven't come out, that haven't been delivered on.
At Warner's
Mhm.
HBO Max.
Yeah. Who I heard lost Dune yesterday, lost the company that makes Dune. And
Seriously?
so yeah, so I think they still paid for Dune, Bespin was telling me. So they'll probably do Dune 2, but any of the films after Dune probably won't be a Warner's thing. Most likely, that's what it sounds like. But yeah, so
great.
right.
Like, I like how everyone was like, hey, this CEO is gonna be our savior. Now they're like, oh, we hate the CEO. Like, yeah, have fun.
But I still want to talk about the Rian Johnson thing. What did you see that they put out Leia's wedding dress? On
Did I see it? I sent it to you.
yeah,
I was like, it's come to this,
But can you see what's on the screen or can you not see?
No, let me look.
Oh, because
Sorry,
yeah,
that's
we got the final version.
It's Santa.
And then and then fucking Meg, man. Fucking Meg made this.
She's not lying. It's like they combined you with that. It was that guy who played Luther in Smallville. Like, that's what
I don't
that kid
know.
looks like. Yeah, Rosenbaum, okay. Michael Rosenbaum. Yeah.
But
someone will tell me it was the Commodores. I got checked on my. It's not Rick James, Rob. It's the Commodores that did Brick House. And I'm like, ooh, it's that sexy Lionel Richie just bewildered me with this.
Remember in Vacation
hot pants.
When they go into the black neighborhood and he's all, is that the Commodores or something like that?
Yeah,
because it's like
it's
he's
hilarious.
A white kid was he from Chicago?
Yeah,
he was in the suburbs. So he's like, yeah. I thought that was good. All right,
that actress that played the dead grandma died last year, or like a couple months ago, actually.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah, the one who with the dog, the pea sandwiches. Anyways, so Thomas asks, is he really? So in my opinion, how this is going to shake out is probably something like this. They're going to go into a period of what we'll call a Star Wars story films. I don't think they're going to use that subtitle anymore, most likely. At least I doubt it. I could be wrong, but I think Solo may have killed that. And I'm still surprised though it was still on Rogue One. I'm kind of surprised they didn't strike it from Rogue One for the re-release, which I think they should have, to be honest with you. I don't think it fits the movie whatsoever. But I think that we'll call those the standalone Star Wars films. I think we're gonna go into that space theatrically. And I'm guessing that will build a hunger for something with more commitment. If we should have a few Star Wars films that are truly standalone, and
honestly, they should just do the Mando films, and then when they're done, hit Ryan up, because that could last them 10 years right there.
Let's see what they do with this next fucking Mando season. I mean,
I don't even think they should be making that season.
Yeah,
and we're past that.
And that's what I'm saying is where are they going to be? That would, like, I'm with you. If they had done a season or two of Mando and then gone to a film, Would have been great.
Like
Would have
right
been the
now,
way.
they should be filming the Mando film. That's what they should. And
But they
let
didn't.
Filoni do his soak and all that other shit.
And they're already going with the next season of Mando before season
Fucking
3 even
so
starts.
dumb. Such a bad
So
move. I'm telling you, by the time they get ready to do the film, it'll be like when they made that Simpsons movie 20 years too fucking late. It's like, no, cats. You know, hey, look, I love Beavis and Butthead Do America, but that came out the same summer as South Park the movie, and it killed Beavis and Butthead like for a long time, bro. Like, you know, so like there is a window, and I feel like Grogu Mania, like kind of like is it's down. You know what I mean? Like it'll come back a little bit when there's a show, but I'm willing to bet from what I've heard. You know, I'm just saying like the Grogu merch ain't just selling like it's printing money anymore. You know? So.
Well, maybe it's time for Mecha Grogu the movie. That's what I'm saying.
Man, if Favreau had directed this, was shooting a Star Wars film right now, and that fucking Mecha Grogu show, so his Star Wars movie is an Iron Man Grogu, people would lose their fucking minds. They'd lose their fucking minds, bro. Like, would have been the highlight of the film. So,
but we're gonna have a 3 and 4 of that, so that won't be happening. So my guess is that we're gonna have these like Taika Waititi Rogue Squadron style films that are in the slate, and they might spawn sequels, they might not. But I think it may eventually have people hungry for commitment. You know, a couple one night stands at the theater, if you will. But now I want something I can rely on, something I know will be there in 2 years, and then the 2 years after that, and then I'll talk about for the rest of my life like a loser on the internet, that kind of thing. You know what I mean? You're gonna want that. So I wouldn't be surprised if Rian Johnson's story is when that gets picked up, and we don't know what that story is. I mean, what if Rian Johnson's movie is Rey after the sequel trilogy? What if that's what it is? Like, we just don't know. The rumors that were going around were all bunk. So none of that ever had any bearing whatsoever. The only thing I ever heard from the horse's mouth, from somebody who would know, was the first one's going to scale a little bit younger. That's all I ever heard that was concrete on my end. And that was just the idea. They didn't write it, so that doesn't even mean that's like true. But that's all I ever heard. And so I think that they were like kind of like looking at it like, let's, you know, and by scaling younger, if it was about Jedi Padawan, they grow, you know, throughout the story or something. Could be one of those kind of deals. So I don't even know what that truly even means, to be honest with you. So, you know, but like Jedi Mike once said, hell Lambhead. So
dude, there's a video game called The Cult of the Lamb. Like,
yeah,
right up your alley. It's on Steam. It's great. So.
Well, I've seen a couple of pictures of it since we've been, you know, worshiping Lambhead. Something for the Disney Lucasfilm Catholic Kennedy haters to feast on. Yeah, probably. I don't know though. I mean, I think maybe I'm wrong, but maybe they're as bored of it as we are, you know. Hey Craig, how's it going? Would love a Rian Johnson trilogy. Yeah, me too. I mean, I'm even cool with like if they just commit to the first film, and then if it's successful, continue the story from there. Like if his story is able to be broken up that way, you know. One of the things that happens, I think, I'm no box office guru. I stopped caring about that stuff so long ago that I wouldn't claim to be able to, like, you know, read box office and what it truly means. And, you know, people like to contort numbers to further their point that has nothing to do with the numbers. It's two unrelated things that they like to make seem like they are, like there's a relation. And where I'm going with this is that The Last Jedi, they make it sound like it was a financial failure, but it was not a financial failure. And I think that you could even see that like Star Wars just coming back was such a big thing at the time that like Rogue One made a bajillion dollars. And I like Rogue One. Do I think that it's the box office that it made is in relation to like the quality or in some way like it was like a breakout phenomenon? I don't think so. I think it was the tsunami of Star Wars itself. I'm not taking away from Rogue One. I'm just saying I think that if that movie could have been solo a Star Wars story and we would have had the same numbers. I think so. And I also think if we had put Rogue One in solo slate and it had come out right at that moment after the Last Jedi with that
No,
much
it
stuff,
wasn't.
I think it would have done the same. I do.
Solo did what it did because people rejected a new Han Solo, having just seen that dude get killed. Like,
I
that's
don't.
it. Yeah,
That was
that's it.
not. No, that was
That's
not.
it.
Dude, I had more Star Wars being fucked in my ear holes, in my eye holes,
All
than
right.
anybody in the world at that time, and that was not the dominant discourse at the time.
All right. Well, I was a normal Star Wars civilian, and I'm telling you what the discourse was amongst the normies. Not all you
Yeah,
highfalutin Uber
no, but
fans, and I'm telling you,
no, I'm saying I heard it. That's
women just weren't into the new dude,
there
man.
was never
They weren't into
hashtag
him.
not my Han Solo like they were doing for Luke Skywalker with the real Luke Skywalker. I mean, it was timing. And my point is that I think timing was the biggest factor in both of those films' success and failure. It doesn't matter if they were good or bad. Like after The Force Awakens, like at that time, I mean, even when I just looked at like the hits on my site, like when I didn't post that day, I would get 20,000 hits when I didn't go to
Yeah,
work that
hits
day.
and all that shit. I'm not talking about like
No, that's
fake internet fucking dollars to like
that's
box
not
office
fake
dollars.
internet dollars. That's actually engagement. And that's what I'm trying to say is the engagement with Star Wars was so fucking phenomenal in those moments that's why Rogue One made the money that it made. And in the future, they're going to use that again. Like if Rogue One comes out next year, do you think it's going to make Rogue One money?
Any Star Wars film right now that's good will make over $1 billion. Yeah. Yeah, it will.
Once
There's
again,
an appetite.
Though,
Look how many people went to go see a movie they already own in the theaters because
but
it's the
then
only
the
thing to see.
prequels made fucking money too. You think they're shit, and you go, well, because it's Star Wars. So what
I'm not talking about the quality of the film. They're shit films for me.
You said if it's good, and I'm saying I don't think it matters.
The prequels didn't make $1 billion. They went down every film. The Phantom Menace made the most money, and then they went down in dollar count from there. So yeah, they weren't great.
Didn't the third one make more money?
It did less.
Than Attack of the Clones?
It didn't do. No. Phantom Menace made the most out of all of them. So it made more money than Attack of the Clones, yes, but it didn't make more money than the Phantom Menace. So Attack of the Clones still made the least amount.
Okay, so yeah, whatever. So that's how the classic model used to work.
So we could sit here and say, well, if this came out, that would have done it. I'm going to tell you right now, the timing thing is a thing that they're missing right now. Right now, the timing is you make the Mando fucking movie, and they're fucking that up left and right. Dude.
They're not.
They're fucking that. That's what they're doing right now. So you can go back in this like multiverse and figure out, well, if they put Solo would not have made $1 billion. Might have made like 700, 800 mil because of the hype. But it wouldn't have broke $1 billion because that dude did not connect with fucking the regular folk. No one was like, that dude was fucking cool. They talked about everyone but him in that film. That's it. Game of Thrones chick, Lando first. Game of Thrones chick, Woody Harrelson. No one remembers Alden Aaron. I mean, no one remembers that fucking dude.
I know, but you're talking.
And I'm not saying I dislike him. I'm not saying.
No, I know, but that's.
I'm talking about at legacy. The time.
Yeah,
the time, no one was like, this dude's fucking amazing.
People,
like, in the way that, let me give you an example. In the way that. All right, go ahead.
When I was the one who had to buy everybody's fucking ticket to go see Star Wars. I was the one who was the organizer in the friend group and had to deal with all the stuff. When Solo came out, I was still fucking exhausted from getting everybody's $20 and picking the tickets up and waiting in line. And they asked me to do it like 3 or 4 months after that. That played a big part in Solo not making a ton of money. I'm saying timing is
You also got shitty friends, bro, because like
that's exactly how it goes.
In 1997, you were able to buy tickets online in 2018 or 17.
You could not go with 20 people with big groups and go buy fucking tickets on Fandango when it was crashing. You could buy 20 tickets. They would be all scattered out. You had to go to the theater.
So that's why Solo didn't make money, because you couldn't buy 20 of them at a time.
If you want to simplify what I'm saying into the stupidest fucking point of the whole thing.
I don't know. I'm not trying to simplify it to make this.
I'm saying everybody was exhausted at that point. But Rogue One, everybody was still on the big tsunami of Star Wars. Like,
bro, Rogue One doesn't have the themes, doesn't have the crawl, doesn't have the doesn't have fucking anything until the very end, which means you had to stick all the way to the end to see a fucking, and it still made the money. No,
because it was a tsunami of cultural. Let's spend money. I can't get enough Star Wars. That's exactly the point.
Bro, then fucking Attack of the Clones should have made way more money than it did.
No,
that makes no sense. It just look. The fact of the matter is, right, Jason. The fact of the matter is, if anybody knew how to fucking guarantee fucking money in Hollywood, they would be they wouldn't be worrying about how to make money in Hollywood.
You can't make that point and then go, but I'm not going to let you address it. Phantom Menace was controversial, therefore Attack of the Clones had to deal with controversy. The Force Awakens was a home run. It had everybody was
the Last Jedi was a fucking controversial film, and Rise of Skywalker still made $900 fucking million.
That was Rey's mom, which you have conceded several times. It was. I'm saying that was the big difference.
You're right. Hey, look, Rob's wrong.
No.
So what do I know?
It's not. It's not saying.
Like we have a theme song for it now, Jason.
No,
it's true.
What makes no. It's that like Rogue One shouldn't have made a ton of money, and it did. I'm glad it did.
KOTOR has no relevancy. They have to make a Rebels film before they make a KOTOR film.
But the fucking
because no one knows what KOTOR is.
No, the idiotic Han Solo movie was the one that it should have been the easy home run for them, and it wasn't because of timing.
No, because they wrote a script that was super serious and it wasn't a fun fucking movie. Like, it just wasn't a fun movie. Like, Han Solo's dumb fun, and that was not a fun movie.
The fucking reviews, the reviews for Solo before anybody could see it were overwhelmingly positive because journalists were too afraid to say anything bad about it because they did not want to go against the mainstream. Like, but people didn't pre-order the tickets. Like, I knew the movie was a failure before it was out because I had sources in ticket sales who were like, it's not performing.
And all of them trailers were super fucking serious. There was nothing fun about it.
And could that have been because of Rogue One, perhaps? Could Rogue? I'm asking like Rogue One was a super serious Star Wars film. Could that have told them this is what the market wants?
No. The promise of the premise. This is very simple, right? We're stealing the plans of Death Star. Kind of a serious thing. Han Solo, when his buddy Chewbacca, shouldn't be a serious thing. Mm-hmm. That's it. It's not. It's that simple. It's that simple.
But
Jason.
the movie didn't underperform because of the quality or the content. That is like the one thing about it, and that's the one thing why I say people need to acknowledge why Rogue One was a success, or at least to the extent that it was. But Rogue One being a good film is why people went to go see it this weekend. It's now entered the top 10 of IMAX sales of all time.
It's an irrelevant movie that doesn't count. Like, it doesn't even have the themes, Jason.
That's what you're saying.
Doesn't even have the themes.
That. I'm not saying that.
It doesn't even have a crawl. It's stupid. Just done. Some guy just scares people.
If they had made Quinlan Vos a Star Wars story at that moment, I think it would have done fucking serious money at that point because of the wave. It's like when a band makes a really great record and the next record sucks, but still makes a #1 single. It's like the same kind of thing.
The real movie they should have made after The Force Awakens was the Sifo Dyas film, the Sifo Dyas. That would have proved.
Yeah. But what they
whole lot. You know what I'm saying? Jason?
I don't know. Well, one of the weird things that I heard going out of Rogue One this time was I heard it from a family member of mine, and I actually my father agreed with hearing somebody else say it, and that they were like, "Duh, that was a lot better than I remember it." Remember it being, most people who didn't go see it again. There was like a lot of people there who were seeing it. I think like we're taking family or with family to like see it, but the movie is like a huge fucking downer. You know what I mean? When you get down to it, like Rogue One doesn't make any of the check boxes for being a successful.
Because there's no guarantee to making money. Mm-hmm. There's no guarantee. So what you always have to do, anytime you want to make a successful product, okay, whether it makes money or not, has a lot of other factors. How much you market something, all sorts of shit. Marketing schemes change every 18 months, right? I mean, Are they really? You really think they're using Instagram influencers now? Now it's probably all TikTokers and God knows what the fuck else they're doing. So like, let's just take marketing campaigns out of it, right? Because I guarantee you, if fucking Denny's had been the fucking official sponsor of The Force Awakens, it wouldn't have hurt the film. You know, like that got nothing. Marketing's got nothing to do with it. I'm just talking about making a quality product, right? In order to make a quality product, you have to fucking know what it is you're making, what it wants to be, and then make it the best version of that it can be. That's it. And a dirty dozen, everyone's gonna probably fucking die, right? Story about people attaining the plans to whether it's a Death Star or a fucking the Hunt for Red October, some fucking thing, you know? Like, people are always on board for that. Like it's a as well as the Seven Samurai is a thing. That's a thing. That's like a little genre of thing that you can tweak into a Fast and the Furious film. You can tweak into a Marvel movie. You can tweak into whatever you want. The premise, but you can get in the way of it. And I believe that the struggles that film may or may not have on screen, depending on who views it, if you see something, is a studio unwilling to commit to that idea until the very end when someone was like, you gotta fucking do it. You know, this is ridiculous. And that's only in the years of allowing the people who made those decisions, Gilroy, to come out there and say as such, or when certain people on Mission Impossible films casually talk about what a Star Wars movie should be and what they won't let you do, I'm assuming is their experience of having may or may not worked on a Star Wars movie in which they weren't allowed to do certain shit.
Yeah.
You know? So, like, that's it. You just don't get in the way of what it's trying to be. And I just look at the Solo thing. I look at, like, The Last Jedi was what it was trying to be. And it executed what it wanted to be. They didn't get in the way of it. That's why it has a clear vision. Rise of Skywalker, the guy making it didn't fucking know what he was trying to do.
No, he didn't. He couldn't make up his mind.
That's the world. And the reason why the Lucas prequels tend to hold up as a little cohesive bit, because there was a guy behind it who kind of knew what he wanted to do. You know, like, he wasn't interested in the same shit I was interested in, but he knew what he wanted to do at the end of the day, overall, and then kind of kept it, each one little thing kind of tried to be what it was going to be.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like this mass rethink. Unfortunately, I still haven't seen anything from Lucasfilm that makes me think they've learned from that on any level, dude. Like, I really think if Kenobi had been a movie, man, we would have seen new director, massive reshoots, all of that shit all over again. Like, I just think the only consistency they've had since Rian Johnson has been Favreau and Filoni. And for whatever reason, man, maybe because Favreau earned Disney a few billion, or he just gets along with Kathy, I don't fucking know. But this whole, like, anything could have come out and made money is I wish that were true, because then it's like, oh, well, fucking the movie I love did really well. That means the next one's going to do. It just doesn't.
No.
That way.
It
Buzz Lightyear movie's proving showing Disney that you just can't do whatever you want just because you have a track record with the character in a franchise that makes $1 billion every fucking time you spit one out.
Yeah.
You know?
But that 2016 Star Wars movie, that 2016 Star Wars movie was I think just going to be a success regardless of quality. Like, and that's where I think they run into a weird place, because I don't know if they are able to. It's weird to learn your lesson when you're running off the hype of a phenomenon, and Star Wars coming back in that way in 2015, like, that's a once in a lifetime thing. But that's also why the PR people never learn their shit. Like, they don't know what they're doing. They don't know how to market Star Wars. They've never learned, because they've always been coasting on that original fucking Beatlemania level of Star Wars. And the bands were on the reunion tour. The band's back together. People don't even care if it's the original lineup. They're just fucking buying the tickets. And I think with, like, Rogue One, like, nobody knew if it was going to be good or bad, but people were just like, I'm going to go find out. And that's what's weird to me about with Solo, is that it just couldn't get coverage. Like, it just couldn't get attention. Like, it just, for some reason, would not latch. And before the Solo was even like a thing, though, when I would do articles on it, it would, like, do like 25%. And I've been able to kind of, like, track how much an article like gets and like how the spoiler stuff does to how it's gonna like kind of track in terms of the theatrical stuff by comparison, by the enormity, just by like the interest. It's definitely like there's definitely like a thing there for that. And the only time that's been broken was the Mandalorian, but only at first. People didn't care about the Mandalorian and then cared.
Let me give you a recent example that ties into your experience in a way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not so much my experience. I follow a podcast called Light the Fuse. It's these guys, they cover Mission Impossible pretty much. That's why it's called Light the Fuse. But anything Cruise and McQuarrie, they pretty much cover now.
Okay.
And the ramp up to Maverick, no one fucking was listening to those episodes. They had the least amount of engagement. They're like, none of our friends care, but they were really into it, you know?
Yeah.
They were really into it. Maverick comes out, it's a smash success, you know?
Maverick is like it's like Avatar. It's like Avatar.
That but it's a bunch of people fun.
Yeah. No, it had the fun.
It frankly has the trench run, which is always a smart move. So so I love that. I really do. But now their engagement on anything Maverick outweighs any of the engagement they get on Mission Impossible. Because there's no Mission Impossible movie right now. There's nothing to get excited about. This is what is hot right now. This is what is it's engaged. It came out, it hits with audience, and now it's big. So the prelude to Solo has everything to do with the fact that it was a mediocre to almost nothing ad campaign because they didn't want to get in the way of whatever The Last Jedi. Like there was that weird crossover in marketing. Plus they had like 2 Marvel films out between then too, right? Like Black Panther plus something else. I think definitely at least 1 Marvel film in between then. So like Disney's got all this like not wanting to cross over its own toes. They didn't really know how to market it internally, and then. You know, you got a lead character, like you say Maverick, you know who that dude is. It's Tom Cruise. Well, he's old, he can't come back. But they know. No one knew who this dude was. So you had to say he is this character you know. And I'm sorry, like I don't look at him and go, that's Harrison Ford. Like it's the one time they should have fucking held off until they could figure out a deep fake or get a dude that looks just like his fucking ass. You know what I mean? Like, because there's just no way you convince the average public that is the same character that some other do. I don't agree with it. I don't think the Star Wars characters need the original actors to keep playing them. I'm completely that. I mean, by the way, Donald Glover's Lando proves it. You don't need the same thing. However, to engage people into the theater and get super excited, you got to give them something to hook on. And their hook was the character. It's called Solo. It wasn't called The Smuggler's Run. Was it called A Man and His Wookiee? You know, was it called, you know, like Big Race in Space? It was called fucking Solo. So that means that's like calling a movie Spider-Man and you ain't really got Spider-Man in it, you know?
Yeah.
It's just confusing to the average person. But had it had this weird underground success in the theater, then all that prior engagement would have exploded on you. So it's really difficult to say, like right in your face, bro. Yeah, like the Muppet with the jizz in the room. Remember that movie? So it's the only funny part of that film. But that's why I'm just like, you can't like say, well, I wasn't getting any pre-engagement on it because like the internet's like, it's like a giant marketing department and that it only knows what it likes after everyone likes something, or it only knows what it hates until everyone hates it, kind of fucking thing.
That kind of ties into this, what Santa said. And Santa listed his things with the scheduling thing, which I think was by far the biggest part of it. The first 2. And but also the Harrison Ford part, like I said, wasn't as big as at the time. It definitely, not having Ford wasn't a draw. I'll concede that easily. But this right here, King Chris says, you have to factor how bad the backlash Last Jedi was at the time. It was a definite factor, but I completely disagree with that. I think that that was from the internet and not from reality. Like the same thing with Top Gun and Avatar. It's going to make bajillions of dollars, but like these people on the internet aren't talking about it or weren't talking about it.
Look, I'm a mixed bag on Last Jedi, but I think so everyone remembers, out of those three trilogy films, it's by far the movie that stands on its own. Like, if you just watch Last Jedi, you got a really solid film. I think as a sequel to Force Awakens, no, but that's just what I think. It's solid. It's a solid movie. I don't always agree with it.
It didn't have critical backlash.
I agree. What I would say though, but it has this one thing, Jason, this one important thing. It killed Luke Skywalker. And so the next film after that is a serious war movie. And that should not, you need a lighter film after the killing Luke Skywalker film.
No, it went Force Awakens, Rogue One, Last Jedi, then Solo.
That's right. So after The Last Jedi and Luke Skywalker dies at the end of it, we're all crying because Carrie died in real life too. So we're all, bro, I shed tears, right? And then the next Star Wars film should have just been a fun, goofy romp. That was the time to do the comedy. And what's crazy is they had the comedic directors to do it. And they fired them. So like they took the wrong lessons of, you don't shove a Rogue One into a Solo movie, and you don't shove a Solo movie into a fucking, I feel like Rise of Skywalker was like the thing that needed more weight, and they're like, no, we'll keep it fun. It's like, it's just so weird. They're reacting after and not knowing what they're making before. And no offense, when you get paid millions of fucking dollars and you're at that skill level, you gotta know what you're making. Like you know as well as I do, Jason. Like, if you get, as an artist, if I work on something, but if you as a musician, if you get booked at Boomers, right? Or what's that fucking adult video game place? Is that still around? Dave and Buster's. If you get booked at Dave and Buster's, kind of a different playlist than if you get booked at the Casbah, right? Right? Kind of a different audience, you know? And if you don't learn that till after you played there, I mean, you're fucking, not you, but that person's a colossal fucking idiot. And so I'm just confused, and I don't think that this company has learned too much from it. You know, like,
well, I don't think that that's kind of my deep thesis here of the day is the fact that they're like rich kids born on third base. They just bunted that shit and walked home on the first one, and I think the second one, and then on the third one they actually tried, and I think they did it, but after that they actually kind of had to exist in Hollywood outside of the tsunami of what they were handed, and that's when they started. That's when the ball was dropped. That's when they started dropping it. And they panicked.
But the reason why I keep bringing up a Mission Impossible is because every time I hear the crew talk, I hear Macquarie talk, even Tom Cruise, which I'll be honest, it's hard for me to listen. That dude he's Tom Cruise, man. This is not, I don't, that's a whole nother thing. So, not saying I enjoy Tom Cruise here. I really enjoy Macquarie, but the lighting, the production supervisors, the editors, the composers, anytime you hear those other people, and they're all on Like the Fuse podcast because you want to hear them, anytime you hear them talk, they know what they're making. And they know each film is different, yet consistent. So they have some consistent tenets, but they know that they're making a different thing with the next one. And it's that kind of like, there has to be this group, man, this little group at fucking Lucasfilm that knows what the fuck they're doing. And I still feel like the closest we've gotten to that as a group is Ryan and his crew seem to know what they're doing, right? Gilroy seem to know how to shepherd that into a win. We'll see with Andor if he can do that from the ground up, right? And then Favreau and Filoni seem to know what they're doing. But like, the Robert Rodriguez's, the Joby Harrel's, I don't know, man. Like, I really just think, like, had Boba Fett been a movie, they would have canceled and reshooted that too. Like, I think we would keep seeing these same weird moves that we see. And I just don't understand why they don't know. And I just got to say, like, I'm a fan of Kathleen Kennedy, but, like, is it a case where, like, if you were doing something, I mean, I haven't been, could you imagine? She's been making films since you or I were, like, in, like, kindergarten, bro. Like, like, so she'd been making films longer than I really even knew how to, like, scribble in a coloring book, So, as opinionated as I may be as an artist, how opinionated is that creator, right? They have to be set in their ways. And is that
I don't think
relevant to what we're doing now? You don't think it's that? Okay.
Well, I'm
I'm just
trying
bringing it
to
up.
no, I'm trying to to answer like your initial kind of like point. I think what happened was with the sequel trilogy films, the idea was to make Star Wars movies sort of in a successful Hollywood version of what George Lucas had done. Take away the things that didn't work that Lucas was insistent upon, the throwback stuff, make them a little bit more modern and make successful movies and bring in JJ to do it. Rian Johnson is part of the new Hollywood. Let's get him, and like that's where they were going. When it came to the spin-off films, these were supposed to be films that were sometimes smaller, sometimes not, using young filmmakers that were like George Lucas, who dared to dream at just 30 years old. And that was
You
the
think
plan.
if
And then they
okay,
saw
based on that conceit,
Force Awakens money though changed it.
all right, that's what I'm saying. The money that the Force Awakens made had to have changed it, because when you're bringing in these other cats to do experimental films, to quote Lucas, like, you got to be thinking, okay, in the story of the Marvel Studios book, they were expecting to make 350 million a film. That's all they had to do to break even, and that's all they wanted to do to get to their financial roadmap to the Avengers that they had set up. So they didn't owe anybody money, and one pays for the next one, so forth. Like, that's all. Like, by that measure, Solo's a win. Solo's a Generation 1 Marvel film. You know what I mean? It's like Thor. And bro, it's not a bad movie. You know what I mean? Like,
Sure,
like it's by
what it
far
is.
like I mean, bro, I
very
at no
safe.
point where I was like, no, at no point was I like, I'm walking out of this fucking film, and don't think I don't do that. So like, but that Force Awakens thing, like, is that Lucasfilm or Disney, or a combination of everyone who's like, well, now they gotta make $1 billion and or 2 billion or some fucking crazy number every time? Because like, what film franchise has ever been able to do it?
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. Like,
Yeah,
crazy.
I think they were like, whoa, this is a big opportunity. And I also think that on the other side of things, what probably changed things up somewhat too was when The Force Awakens came out. I saw lines around Target of people going to buy one of every stupid thing they were making. And it didn't have anything to do with what they were buying. They don't even know if the people knew if they wanted that stuff. They just knew that they wanted Star Wars in their eye holes and that they were willing to like do that. And then, you saw that slowly, not even slowly, quickly fall. They did the Midnight Madness, Wookiee Wednesday, Mandalorian Monday
Phantom Menace
bullshit,
bullshit all
whatever.
over
Yeah.
again.
Thing. And each time it became less relevant and more sort of more stupid. And but they, once again, they don't, it's all about like testing parameters. Like when you look at what they've done with Star Wars TV, they were like, well, we got to find a way to make it look cinematic but on TV, and it's going to cost a lot of money to like start this, but if we figure out this volume thing, they go and they do it. But then what do they slowly do? They slowly start to test the limits of the volume of where is the line for the audience. And then so in a weird way, we're like these
Kenobi's
test
the line.
subjects. Kenobi is I think Kenobi and to some extent Book of Boba Fett were showed where those boundaries are on it, and that's how the film stuff has been. But now I still think they find themselves in somewhat of a unique place now that they don't have that torrential tidal wave of a tsunami of
They had it with the Grogu thing. That's what's crazy to me, is they somehow, look, no Marvel movie has had a little fucking character like that Grogu fucking, I mean, like that fucking shit.
Yeah, Groot was,
I mean, like, it is crazy that they fucking invented another Tukumi Elmo, and they're just like, man, I don't know what to do. Like every other movie studio is just coming, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? You know, meanwhile, Paramount's like, we're putting up a 60-year-old Tom Cruise flying a jet. You know, like, like, this is crazy, Jason. And they're just like, well, maybe we'll, you know, we're going to cancel the closest thing to Top Gun we got on our slate, the Rogue Squadron movie. Like, no one's watching that now, you know? Shit's done. Let's see what Taika's doing. Like, it's just crazy, dude. Like, it's so weird. That's what I'm saying. I'm glad that, like, the studio isn't shitting on a creator simply because there was some weird discord on the internet between, you know, a few million bots and like 3% of the fucking population. You know what I mean? Like, who cares? Like, seriously, it's stupid. So like by that measure, fucking Tom Cruise should have never worked again after jumping on a couch, right? This is ridiculous. So, and Rian never did anything like that just because he didn't like a fucking movie. It's dumb.
Yeah.
But
Well, that's sort of the other part of it. It's like Eric says, would also add the hiring of Ron Howard's story probably gave the impression the movie was going to be unwatchable, so people stayed away. But I think when you have something at the scale of Star Wars and that line to make it profitable, I don't know if those are people who read who's directing. I don't think when in reality, when Rian Johnson's directing the next Star Wars movie, I don't think your average moviegoer even knows who Rian Johnson is or that they've ever seen one of his movies.
Dude, the average modern moviegoer doesn't know who Ron Howard is. Just gonna be honest. They don't know the name Ron Howard. They don't. And I can explain to you why. Like, we're all older dudes. I was listening to Camp yesterday, and they brought up an actress who's going to be in She-Hulk, or singer who's going to be in She-Hulk, something the Stallion. I don't know her. I don't listen to modern music. So like, I'm like, wow. Like, I don't know who that is. There's probably like 200 fucking million fans out there that do, though. You know what I mean? Like, and them people don't know who Ron Howard is. I guarantee it. You know, like, they just don't. You know, like, so yeah, it's just.
It's really it's a really complicated thing because
think they know who Doug Liman is, you know, the director of Maverick 2, like Maverick, you know.
But it's like I said, Megan. I kind of know what the average Star Wars fan site visitor is, like what those numbers are, and then I know when it's something is exceeding something, and it's like, oh, that's gonna have like excitement, or like that has interest. And like Solo, though, was never able to really gain that interest. And I never got to really get to like reporting Solo because of The Last Jedi, which was episode fucking 8, man. Like what am I going to cover? Like, what's going to own that real estate in my mind? You know what I mean? But I think that's a really important part of this and like the ongoing stories, like Mandalorian couldn't get arrested when it was in production. Like I was like, I'd put up, like I said, like an episode 9 picture of a fucking tree at Black Park, and it would get fucking like 100% of the hits that day. And then I put up like Mandalorian set pictures where I'm like fucking there and he's there and it's like amazing. And we're talking like maybe a 20th of it. You know what I mean? It was 20%.
And they were mostly me refreshing to look at it again.
It was all you. Yeah, no,
pretty
but
much.
I mean, and then episode 9 comes out and then everyone's like, oh, Mandalorian is much more fun. And then Mandalorian then owns the real estate in people's imaginations. And that's, I think, one lesson. I don't know how they contend with it, but that I think they need to figure out is that we have very binary thinking. You know what I mean? One or the other, okay, Coke or Pepsi. I like Coke and Pepsi, honestly. I shouldn't drink them, but I like them both. But you know, I have the one that I like, and that's just how people are. And
well, I just think that experimental like idea for films is what Disney Plus is for, and then when they get a big win, it should then get graduated to a film. And they got a big win, and they're keeping it on Disney Plus, and it's just like, I really feel like they're gonna do more harm to the goodwill of that series. Prediction, I could be wrong. I feel they're gonna do more harm to the Mandalorian than good if they keep doing with the series. Like, at some point, you need a big adventure. And I get it, and I love The Mandalorian. I love it. So I got the fucking ship in a box, you know? But, like, it's contentious at this point. Everyone only has, what was it? Like, most series only have, like, 4 great seasons. Some break out. But I don't see the Mando going beyond this 4th thing, you know? Like, I'm not seeing it, man.
When you look back at a good series that has more than 4 seasons, usually you're like, that could have been condensed down to 4. That could have been
Sure.
a type. That could have usually my vibe is that could have been a type 4. Of course, they don't know it. It's in
No,
hindsight and
I
all that
know
kind of
that's
stuff. But
hindsight.
yeah,
But when you get the win like this and the merch win and everything else, that's when you graduate it. You just throw all your cards in and go, we're making the film. We got film dudes, this is the place to do it. And then they're like, nah, man, we're doing the Siege of Man. Like, I just like, all right. Like, I'm looking forward to it. I really am. Everything we've seen looks great. But when I see that compared to what their plan is for a movie, it's like no plan for a movie. Like nothing. Zilch.
yeah. It's weird because like Mandalorian though, on one hand though, works so good at being, I don't know if intimate is the word, but it's just the guy and his kid on the adventure, and it's quiet.
Yeah, but that's
And then
part
it's
of
loud.
like, when you're doing a show on a
Mhm.
volume, you play to your, you work. I like, as an artist, I don't like that term, think outside the box. I like to work in a box. They got a box. They found a fucking solid win for working into it. The time to step out the box is, on the big IMAX screen. But the fact that you got a preview for like Andor in a theater and not the Mando is crazy to me, though, dude. As much as I'm a big Gilroy Andor fan. Like, you ain't looking at that little baby Yoda on an IMAX screen. You're looking at, I mean, like, this is nuts, dude.
Well, there was a plan. There was a Disney investors call, and they asked, "Is there any, has there been any kind of like talk about putting the Mandalorian in the theater?" This is before COVID, and they said we have talked about doing a season supercut and potentially showing that in theatrically. Then COVID came and completely off the table, and they never returned to it. But I would love it if they did it still. You know what I mean? If they were able to in the future.
what they
But
should be doing is remaster that last episode with Luke and then do a supercut and put it all together as one night super event, Like remaster all that shit with proper fucking defaking and then for the big screen and then put it out there. Like they'll
yeah,
get their fucking money back like that night, Like
if they did another part with Luke Skywalker and showed the first Mando episode with Luke and then the Boba episode with Luke, and then if they had another
yeah,
one and did it and did like that kind of thing, and
yeah,
but I don't know what you call it, an evening with Luke. But
yeah.
Star Wars Post says the lesson learned: if you change the cemented perceptions of a 40-year hero, even when the story warrants it, you will lose half the audience and their internet and their irrational response, nostalgia minefield, which I do agree with you. That is always a big part of all of this. But like the one thing that if the prequels showed us is that as you do murder off half of your audience with their expectations about what it should have been, there always comes a new audience that generally replaces it, and that's like what happened with the prequels. The part where the prequels were a success is that yet they replaced what they lost. Where it was a failure was that it didn't grow it very much, and in it kind of like in terms of audience growth, it sort of treaded water. There wasn't like a lot of exponential growth after that, which is why they went with trying to capture the Hunger Games lady audience that was willing to invest in a franchise. That was sort of one of their early goals. I think that's why we have Rey and why we have Jyn Erso as the main heroes, when really their sex and gender have very little to do with their importance or at all to any of it. But I think that's was completely
It's
from a
also why you get
marketing
these
angle.
crazy shipping posts, you know what I'm saying, and all that Stan bullshit and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Like you get these fanatical, like it's the same folks I gotta imagine who give two shits about who Ben Affleck's married to. You know what I mean? like, and you can never not fucking hear about it, or Prince Harry over and over fucking again. It's those fucking people. Like, good, you brought those people into your fold. Now you got to deal with it. You
Yeah.
better deal with it. You know what I mean? You did that. So you got to deal with it. I'll say this though, like about the Luke thing, like, okay, sure, whatever. It was contentious. People were all mad, but like Batman, all you need is another win, and then people come right back around, and people love Luke Skywalker. All those people who were bitching are like, I like him on fucking Mando. He's all young and shit. You know, he's running around with little Grogu. Like, So, like, they really like bad will is you can't come near that shit with the 10-foot pole. You know, like Michael Bay makes another Transformers film right now. It's not gonna go so well for them. Like
Yeah.
I guarantee it. You know, so
Right.
like, however, you know, Rian Johnson says I'm making the fucking Heir to the Empire trilogy with fucking a deep fake Mark Hamill. He wouldn't, but I'm just saying if he went full in on that, every one of those guys who hates Rian Johnson are gonna come back and go, great. You know, they'll all be mad. Oh, he's gonna ruin it, but well, they'll be there opening night. They're Jason. They won't not go. Like, I know this is like a broken joke with me, but I'm being serious. I wish they weren't there that night. You know, I could walk into an empty theater and be at peace and happiness. Won't have to wear a mask. I could just, I could fart to heart's content. But, but they're there, Jason. Sorry.
I know. I was on Meg's Discord the other day, and somebody was going to see Rogue. I don't remember who it was now from memory. I was busy, but someone's like, "Oh, there's really no one going to see Rogue One at my theater," and I was like, "Now you don't have to wear pants." Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But Dan the Man says, "Any news on an adult Grogu series or movie?" And I would say, like, you mean like where he's like fucking, moaning, like two chicks at the same time?
When do you think when Gina Carano comes back, she's gonna be Grogu's gonna date the bad girl.
Grogu's playing Biden. Grogu's like smelling her hair.
He's got to help her get. Turns out he's got to help Manny. I know this is not. I'm jumping around in time. Fuck it. He has to help Manny Bothans with the laptop from hell for Death Star 3. You know.
Fair enough.
There we go.
no. To be honest, I kind of think that if they were to make the jump into a theatrical Mandalorian movie down the road, having Grogu really start to become something different, where you maybe do need that sort of CGI Yoda Grogu, that like really high quality stuff where it would really push the budget up a ton. I do think that would kind of be a space to start that. And
yeah, they shouldn't be making him are you saying like make him a teenage Groot? Because I don't think they should be doing that.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm saying that. I'm saying if he ever hits a point where he starts to like use a lightsaber.
Only if Rian Johnson's next trilogy takes place 400 years in the future, so we get a 400-year-old Grogu, like do a giant jump.
Yeah,
you don't want that. Well, he's gonna look like, my friends, my elder statesmen of Star Wars fandom. It's gonna look like when Corey Feldman started to get a little bit too old, right? And you're like, why are these guys still making Corey movies? Like, I like License to Drive, but why? Why are we doing this? You know?
Yeah, I think they will have to like when they do the first age up on him someday, which will happen.
I think fat, dude. Like make him like big tubby. No one's expecting a fat Yoda. Like a big Buddha Yoda. Yeah, just a big happy Buddha sized Grogu, you know? Like,
and then he grows into it.
Someone I can look for, I can, relate to. Finally, a Jedi Master that speaks my fucking
they would literally have to they would have a puppet CGI version of a child actor who's growing up. No, I think that
man, that Sixth Sense kid still works. He's in What We Do in the Shadows. Topher.
The big. If you listen to the fans back then, he would have been Anakin. Can you imagine that?
He should have been.
No, you're fucking high. But
yes, no, caffeine.
Yeah, I know. Somebody said when they make him work, they call her Caffeine Kennedy. Because you have to drink so much coffee because she keeps you working all the time.
Is she like, like Katzenberg had Diet Coke on the ready? You know about that?
Yeah.
Just like Trump, he had Diet Coke on. There's something about megalomaniacal, like megomaniacal, right? Maniacal. I don't fucking know. Something about crazy fuckers.
Star Wars big!
Caffeine Kennedy's hilarious. I'm gonna tell you, you might see a cartoon of that when we get closer to a theatrical. You might see something. That's a good one. She's gonna speak real fast.
The Grouch says, Is it true Ryan's coming back to kill off Chewie, R2, and 3PO? Each one in each movie to completely call the old
He's just
franchise?
coming back to
Just
strangle
all of it.
them. Sabers out, like.
Yeah. He's even taking from Star Wars to Jedi and having and remastering it where George Lucas has a heart attack during one of the interviews and dies. But,
You know what I would like to talk to Rian Johnson about?
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars Visions. I'd like to get his take on Star Wars Visions.
Yeah.
Each episode. If he hasn't watched it, watch him. See what he thinks. I imagine he's got interesting takes.
What I want to know is he still a functioning part of the Star Wars story group when it comes to the bigger things? I don't believe he's sitting there reading every fucking High Republic novel or anything like that. But you know what I mean? Like, I'm curious if he still has a part to play at all.
I was gonna make a trilogy, and then I got High Republic.
Well, right. when JJ was there around when they were dealing with him, I would hear like, oh, fucking hell, like just Bad Robot. It's kind of a bitch. Like the kind of people at Lucasfilm were just like, this is kind of a headache. And then when Ryan came in, I heard from more than one person the same analogy, and that's that he was like the cool professor. Like he had like an office there, and it was like open, and he would say hi to you, and it was very so he fit into that culture very, very well. It sounded like that was my takeaway, was that in terms of like up there,
this gets into the ILM documentary and the Rinsler book.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's an interesting take here in that there is a culture in LA that Lucas himself did not relate or get to or want to deal with. Mm-hmm. And there's a Berkeley type atmosphere, right? A Marin County, too close for comfort like atmosphere that Lucas really kind of like, and I think that Ryan probably fits into that. I can see Ryan fitting into San Francisco well. I don't know if he'd be out partying in LA. I don't know if he's that dude.
There seems to be two experiences that people have at Lucasfilm. In my this is going to be in my Lucasfilm ethnography someday. And you have the people who find success and happiness, and their experience sounds to me like a graduate student with a cool professor. Oh boy, they're making me stay the weekend and do this, but I'm learning so much, and they're very into it. And then the other side of it, is just where people get kind of turned into ground hamburger mentally and are put through the grinder, and it's not a good experience, and it's just too much of a lot of bullshit. And so I think
they let their poodles wreck their hotel room.
Yeah, the lucky people get that grad school never ended experience, though. That's and I don't know. I don't know why it is. It may literally just be the position that you got mixed with a little bit of your personality and who your supervisor is that makes it a nightmare, or like I said, college for life. But you could definitely see how it sometimes has a bit of like, I don't know, a little bit of a corporate attitude, but also a little bit of a college campus attitude. So, oh, thank you, Mr. Sucked. There are 16 drawings of Grogu on the internet.
And here's some money.
Yeah. Internet.
Wait till Grogu goes through watches Gremlins and goes through his like flashing people phase. Like he has to be the flashing gremlin. It'll happen.
Oh shit, I lost the spot. Yeah, so wait, was this the one we're on? Tyrant says the Grogu reunion with Mando should have been a bigger deal. Let Grogu, I agree, have had more training with Luke, and let Din have more solo time with the rest of the Mandos. It felt like an emotion pull push. And I think that's like
the end.
Really,
it should have been the end of the movie, Jason. Yeah. They're split on the opposite sides of the galaxy, and the Mando, and then they got to get together, and then they get together at the end.
Do you know why?
$2 billion.
Do you know? No, do you know why I think it didn't go that way? I think it's because realistically, Grogu living 800 years as a Mandalorian, it's sort of not aesthetically in line with making that actually work in the big picture. I'm just saying having Bugs Bunny in the middle of a bunch of Klingons and a Star Trek thing takes a little away from the atmosphere, the tribalism to some extent, if you will, like, because he doesn't fit. I think his ultimate fate is still going to be that he becomes a Jedi. I just don't think he's going to end up in the Luke Skywalker temple because they don't want to murder him. So I think that's where it will go.
Of course, but we're not even in that timeline of the murder thing. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah. But
you know, if I'm a fucking executive and I'm just like over here like, hey man, like we got a fucking literally a little green thing that prints money. You know what I mean? And everyone's looking for this guy to get back to this guy. Then we need to make a film where they're split up, and at the very end, that's when they fucking give man reunites with child, and fucking everyone goes, oh my god, I'm gonna see this a million fucking times, and we fucking saved Disney out of the fucking pandemic. Like, this is so ridiculous. Like,
but it's ultimately not that story. It's the story of the student who refuses to become a Jedi and then becomes
well, you changed that shit. Well, he can rechange. He can reject being a Jedi in that movie. I'm just saying that they put all that shit into an episode of Boba.
I'm talking about Favreau.
They put it into an episode of Boba Fett. I can't, like, this has got to be the dumbest movie. Look, I love that episode. You know I do. It's got a fucking Terminator reference in it. You know, like, it's a brilliant episode. They put that in an episode of, not even the last episode, in the middle of Boba Fett. Like, people should be fired for this. Like this is ridiculous.
Or
head should roll like in the beginning of the episode where you're just hacking fucking dudes off with that saber and shit. Just fucking. Like.
I think in the dumbest way. I don't agree with it. I don't want it to be this way, but I think that they made Boba Fett relevant no matter what. We always have to go.
Who cares? Who cares, dude? Like, sir, I love Tamara Morrison.
No, me too.
That is why you make a Boba Fett TV series and you don't make a Boba Fett fucking movie, all right? And when Boba Fett the TV series hits the fucking raid-like level zeitgeist or the John Wick zeitgeist, and then they go, oh shit, we need to move. Then there you go, because you can't make a fucking John Wick fucking production. You can't make a $60 million Star Wars film. You know what I mean? Like, that's a Disney Plus series. So
I think the right idea was to have Boba Fett and The Mandalorian being two shows on concurrently that show completely two different sides of the same coin, and then had them face off at the end. That's what I would have done personally. That's where I would have taken it. I wouldn't have had them be best friends. I would have had them become adversaries, and Boba Fett's a murderer and a terrible shithead, and Mando has this heart that stops him from ultimately being as successful as Boba Fett.
Boba Fett is a villain in his later life. I mean, it's just so fucking dumb, dude. This is where I'm just like,
I'm still holding out hope, though.
I'm still holding out hope, dude. Like, you can always change it. Nicholas Meyer showed us you can take a Star Trek film that has failed, take the exact same premise as the motion picture. Oh, they're all on the show. They're going to retire. Oh, they're going to take away. And then fucking turbo inject it with some fucking energy and reboot the whole thing without reboot. Like, you can fix anything, you know? You don't have to reboot to fix it. So, I mean, look, a lot of people thought Batman Begins was literally a prequel to Tim Burton's film. I don't know why, but they did. And they could have been like, yeah, it is. Eventually we'll get there, and never fucking fulfill that. You know what I mean? Just string everyone along and they would have bought into it, you know?
My kind of hope for the future is when you look at it, like, usually they're pretty morally conscious, I feel like, with their characters. And Boba Fett is a criminal. He's running a criminal enterprise, and they made it look adorable.
Yeah.
And is that ultimately going to be a
spice? He's selling drugs.
Is that going to be, or no? I think he kicked the drugs off, which was actually sort of a moral thing. I don't think he let them.
But then he did Space Lizard. He's still getting high in that episode, bro.
Well, that was what they made it. That's different. That was organic.
Until he realizes he could sell Space Lizard fucking energy, 5-hour energy, you know, 5-hour Space Lizard.
But my point is are they going to let it seem moral, or are they setting it up? Is it like, oh shit, of course they were going to do that. Like, you are bad. I mean, you're part of corruption. Are they going to make it seem like you could only be a little corrupt and just stay like in the big picture? They shouldn't, but I'm curious if they are going to or not. Will they pay attention? Will
Oh,
they
they'll
just
still make, if they do that, they'll still make him a fucking hero. They have it in their head
mm,
to make Boba Fett a good guy. It's a dumb idea. It's like making Venom a good guy. This is not a good idea.
yeah,
You can make a movie featuring a bad guy as the lead. You can do, the Joker is not a good fucking dude. You know what
yeah,
I mean? Like, you could still do this. But yeah, no, they have this. This is that '90s thing with the Boba Fett. Like, this is that '90s thing where they're like, "Oh, he's popular, but he's a villain, so we'll make him the anti-hero, but with respect." You know, like it's literally the Full House version of that with Boba Fett. I mean, they even do the fucking Full House thing at the end. It's so fucking weird. So fucking weird.
yeah.
Oh man,
Was not a fan of that.
so weird. It's
Um,
so weird, dude. Too many cooks. Like,
too many cooks. By the way, Red 5, the other day, I went in my kid's room and he had the Enfys Nest that you sent him. And he was just like kind of like sitting on his bed, just kind of like looking at it, like it was flying. I was like, oh, I got to tell you, but here you are, so I'll tell you now. And so once again, thank you for that gift a while ago. It's really appreciated, dude. He likes it a lot.
that's nice.
What's up, Jason? It's time for a prequel special edition. Those effects are pretty dated. I know there was some clause in the same to Disney, but they definitely need it. I'm kind of like, it's weird because I'm a big proponent of the special editions of Star Wars. I like when the movies got upgraded, but there's also a part right now of those things sort of like of what they were when they were what they were doing when they were doing it, how well they were doing it, that I actually really admire when I compare it to other films of its day that are successful and still liked. I still think that compared to most movies from 99 to 2005, the CGI has held up relatively well in the big picture. Not saying that there's not stuff to critique, not saying Attack of the Clones doesn't look flat and all that kind of shit. It definitely does. But it I wouldn't be against it if they did it, but I'm okay with them not doing it at the moment.
I say leave that for YouTube fans. If they were
Mm.
gonna ever do anything with it, you know, it'd be one thing if they had like a show. So I would never say a contest because that's just a way to get people to do shit for free. But if they had a show, right, where it was like, we're going to take some of the best visual effects kids on fucking YouTube, on TikTok or whatever, and we're actually going to fucking give them the opportunity to remake some scenes, you know what I mean? And take it through production and then concept what it would look like and take that and actually do it. Do like a special edition, like in the way that people do MasterChef, but for visual effects, right? Take it through a season of what that's like, and at the very end, you show the fucking scene and what they made. Then you get people going, I would do it this way. Then they can come on. They gotta do, but in terms of them doing it, man, like we've already been down this path. It leads to one thing: everyone being split again. All the prequel people who loved it are going to be fucking super mad that new Disney's injecting their shit into old Lucas. Lord knows what George would think about it. Nothing good comes from it. You know,
Well,
like they just.
there's like I'm this brings up something I actually kept wanting to bring up to you, and it kept slipping my mind, and that's that so Disney recently lost exclusivity, the rights for Winnie the Pooh. It fell into the public domain, and I don't know what's true, but I had heard that in 1997, Star Wars. This is before there was some more copyright. But when they made the new edit in '97, that extended the ownership of Star Wars and the copyright not falling into the public domain for even longer. And that was always a big reason to do these re-edits that get recertified, is that you're able to keep it going. And right now there's a lot of talk that Superman Superman and Batman are not far off in the big picture. Like in 2030s, I think, is when those become public domain. And what it sounds like they're trying to do with those is they're going to try to redefine what Superman is, in the sense that Superman in 33, I guess, didn't fly. And
No, that came from the TV, the radio show.
yeah,
Because
so
you'd hear the sound effect and, you know, whoo, he's flying and shit. That came from the radio.
So they're going to try to make these different eras of Superman mean different things, meaning like when Christopher Reeve's Superman comes along and defines that era, that's a different Superman. And that's what they're going to legally be trying to prove is the, I guess, the dominant theory right now about how they're going to
But
go
see,
about
Superman
that.
was owned by a company, and the Winnie the Pooh was something they licensed a book versus being something in public
Mhm.
domain like Snow White or something. So it's kind of a different situation. I just assume at this point this is America, so some mega corporation is just going to get whatever the fuck it wants with something it
Probably.
owns. In terms of licensing a book, yeah, they'll probably lose the rights, but they'll lose the rights to those characters, not their interpretation. So anyone that takes the fucking Disney looking Pooh and tries to do something with it, well, my friend, you're going to be up a real fucking shit creek.
Yeah.
I don't recommend doing it. Unless anyone think this matters, it doesn't. Because Jason, you want to talk about obscure, shitty things from the 80s? Let's talk about Pinocchio and the Prince of Darkness. You remember this fun fucking film in the theaters in 1986 or 7? Did you ever
Yeah.
have to go sit through this? Yeah, that
Yeah.
wasn't good. And that's at the height of like Disney like nostalgia, and those old school characters still reign supreme. No one went to go see a non-Disney Pinocchio film.
It
No
was like
one's
the
gone to
first
see.
generation of nostalgic Disney
Yeah.
people. Yeah.
Hook is the
Baby
only thing
boomers.
that's even come close to doing sort of Disney numbers with kind of like that character, but any other Peter Pan
Spielberg.
system is fucking tank. That
Yeah.
Neverland, all that shit, none of it's gonna fucking work. No one cares. You're just
Well-
gonna see a bunch of A24 psycho Pooh Bears trying to murder Christopher Robin. That's what they'll do because that's what people do with this shit. So,
In mine, they fall in love and they get the honey. That said, where I'm going with this is, what if, a few years down the road, what if what if they want extra protection? What if they decide to do a Skywalker Saga special edition? And that's where they sort of streamline it all, add something that to each of the films that they always wanted to add, or change something and do that for that reason. That's pretty much the only way I could see it happening. But I feel like with almost never ending Star Wars like on the docket for Lucasfilm as a company, when you get down to it, I don't know if they're really going to spend too much time looking back other than at what they think worked and what didn't, personally. So,
as long as
I'm not sure.
unfettered capitalism and neoliberalism reign supreme in this country, they're gonna keep their copyright in perpetuity.
No, it would
definitely.
I think it would take something wild happening, like some political reason that like they like lose, like some sort of like disruptor Donald Trump kind of thing where he starts taking shots at something and they go, oh God, and then they make this weird choice and then it would
I
take
do
something
think-
off the wall. But yeah, I'm with you.
I
do
totally
believe you.
support this shit going into public domain. I honestly believe that Warner Bros. Could keep putting out Matt Reeves films while fans are making their shitty Batman films. You know what I mean? And the Matt Reeves films will still fucking outdo quality. You know what I mean? They're never going to be able to compete. Like, so some other movies, so Fox or Paramount's going to make a Batman film. Yeah, but then they're going to have to anger the wrath of another studio that will just fuck them on something else. And so there's like this mutually assured destruction when it comes to that. Like, all those things would... This reminds me of when Lucas was afraid that the porn parodies, Star Balls and shit like that, was going to diminish the quality or the family friendliness of Star Wars.
Made me
And
love
it's
it more.
It doesn't. I mean, you can go right now go to any one of these porn sites and just type in a character you love and watch them do things you never thought you'd see. You know? So like, it's just
Whole fan engagement.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I think that when you want to have when you want to own a culture's mythology, it's weird. And when you try to make something a culture's mythology and start trying to take it to that level, I think at some point they should own it back. Can you imagine if like fucking, I don't know, some fucking dude owned the Iliad? Like still, oh yeah, I just own it because my great exponential grandfather, it was his idea, whatever. It's just like, come on.
But this has been the argument since Walt Disney made Snow White. Since Walt Disney made Snow White, everyone's like, oh, they're just going to own all the fucking fairy tales now, or they got nothing original, or they're going to take all these things. And then So this is, really Disney's the one who kind of like Walt himself is the one who put us in this position. To be
Yeah.
perfectly honest with you, so.
Yeah. No, I mean I mean at the end of the day, like, are they gonna own the fairy tale? Yeah, they are though. I mean, at the end of the day, that's just what
Yeah,
the truth is. If you have
and they're
a
gonna own that toy version of that plush, and if you think somehow like, even if they lost the copy, you think you're gonna ever be able to sell plush Winnie the Poohs that look just like their shit? Good
yeah.
luck,
I
Like,
mean, unless you as a parent make a and a whole generation of parents make a conscious choice to read, I don't know, Grimm's fairy tales only from the books and to buy stuffed animals that are loose representations of that. You know what I mean?
Look, Matt Damon would love to have another crack at Hansel and Gretel, but it's just not gonna happen.
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, it's true. And yeah, I guess Mickey
The
Mouse
copyright police
will enter the public domain in the year 2024, and so we'll have to see if are they gonna pull out something magic to make
Yeah.
that not happen, and that's only 2 years away, so we will be able to follow that and see what this. I mean, it's going to mean interesting things for Star Wars either way. It's going to mean maybe they're going to really start pushing legislation through, or getting lobbyists to change that, because
That
like
whole,
Warner Brothers
Jason, that whole,
losing.
we're Disney, we're not getting involved in the politics because our LGBTQ employees are under siege. But the minute the mouse goes up for fucking auction, oh, how they're gonna get way into politics so quick, Jason.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to watch. A part of me really doesn't give a shit, because I'm just like, oh, this is all fucking old
Right.
regurgitated hat anyways. And I feel like, you can make your own Star Wars without needing to make it Star Wars, right? When you get down
Yeah.
to it. I mean, you can, but the truth is Star Wars itself is filling that void. So why even try? Do something else. That's what I say. But here we are. Well, we did it, man. We did it. I think we did our show today. Rian Johnson's movie is still going to be happening. I think that the fact that it went into the Empire article and that it even happened, probably, and coupled with Kathleen's celebration quotes, I think that it really does say something about where their heads and where their intent is. People made it sound like it was dead because of the Last Jedi backlash. If you mean the backlash of the cash going into their fucking pockets, sure. But at the same time,
Nothing
yeah,
got more backlash than Batman and Robin, and they kept making Batman movies. And you go, but not with Joel Schumacher. I guarantee you, had Joel Schumacher was still alive at some point, they would have been like, guess who's coming back? And everyone would have been like, he was pretty good. Like, he did a good job. I'm a guy who rallies for Batman Forever, warts and all. Warts and all.
you're sick. You're sick. But I respect your right to be sick. I won't kink shame you for your. Is that the one with the bat nipples?
Of course.
Yeah, there you go. That's
he
what
has
it was.
nipples. Jason, we all have nipples. You can just see them.
Oh, sure, but Darth Vader doesn't have them on his costume. I'll tell you that much.
He's got a big dick piece, that's for certain.
Can you imagine it? Can you imagine? Well, he doesn't want to get kicked in the balls. They got burnt.
Yeah, that's how you justify it, Jason. All right. I'm not kink shaming you.
No, can you imagine? Can you imagine if Darth Vader's costume had fucking nipples on it? All of a sudden, like Kenobi comes out, we pan up the Darth Vader boots, and then he's got the
Let's do it. Yeah, I can see that.
Use the AI program, Darth Vader suit, but it has nipples.
Yeah, let's do that.
But anyways, we'll be back tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time to talk about Star Wars. And if any big news happens, I'll come back on. Otherwise, we'll see you guys tomorrow. And we'll talk about whatever the day Star Wars news is. Also, just on a little side note, I'm trying to research something to make sure I'm not wrong, but I was able to obtain the photographs of a cut A New Hope scene, and I was able to get very good copies of them. and that the scene's not out there. And so I don't know if I'll do a standalone video on it, or if I'll do we'll just do it on the show. I'm not sure, but
I think for
cool.
debuting it, you should do a standalone. Get right to the point. Don't let me drag it out, and then we could do like our long form. Yeah, I don't need to be on it. I think because you need to get right to the point. People just want that right to the point.
Yeah,
they don't want me over here making Filoni jokes and telling Bootsy how great he is, and I know.
Love you, Bootsy. But
we love you, Bootsy.
We'll be back tomorrow. Thanks everybody for liking the video and being a channel member and supporting the show and being a Patreon supporter and for telling Rob he's wrong. I appreciate that.
Thank you. My wife, it's her favorite part of the show now. Like she just let me know.
I'm trying to win her over.
That's how you do it, Jason.
Rob's always wrong, always wrong, always wrong. Rob's always wrong, cause he's wrong, cause he's wrong. Rob is so fucking wrong. He's wrong. He's wrong.
We gotta get shirts. We gotta get shirts. Let's monetize it. Let's do it. Bitch. I'm wrong.
Come on, let's go. Hey! It's the end of the show. Come on, let's go. Hey! It's the end of the show. Come on, let's go. Hey! You know you should go. Come on, let's go. It's not about spaceships.